everybody, welcome back to the Struct Club pod. I'm your host, Amira Pollock, founder and CEO at Struct Club, and today we're here with a very long time member, Luis Aguiar. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, I am a Brazilian lost in Miami for the last 34 years. I'm calling today from Miami, Florida. Sunny day, very hot outside. I have five kids, married. I have a day job in technology, and I came to love indoor cycling about 14 years ago. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
What brought you into fitness? Were you an active athlete your whole life? What was the origin story there? And then the
Yeah.
journey getting into actually teaching fitness?
I was very active kid. Always had a ball under my arm. Playing soccer growing up in Brazil. Everybody plays soccer every single day. Then I did competitive soccer. I did competitive basketball, then competitive volleyball. Then I graduated, and when I was 25, I came over to the United States and kind of slowed down my athlete-like type of lifestyle. I started gaining weight, right? Gaining weight, and I went from 200 to 200, and I'm 6'2", so I went 200 is fine. So, but I went to 255, and then I got in, and then I got diabetes type 2 and got heavier, and my knees got tired because of the volleyball, like extreme volleyball, basketball, soccer entire life. My knees and my hips like kind of started giving in, and I went to the doctor. The doctor told me like you can't do any soccer or anything that jumps or anything high impact, and he said you can swim or you can do cycling. And then I said swimming, it's it needs to be too early in the morning. I don't see me swimming too much. I said I'm gonna do cycling, and then I started doing actually elliptical machines at the gym. I was doing elliptical because it's low impact. And then a friend of mine said, my wife is doing the spinning class in one of the clubs that I was in. My wife is doing the spinning class. The instructor is really good. You're gonna like it. I said, like, no, I don't see me. I'm a soccer player. I don't see me doing a spinning class. Like I didn't have any connection with it. It was not on purpose or anything, but I gave in and I said, I'm going. And then next week I started going. And then the first class that I did, I could barely finish. And that put
Me
me
too.
in like I was outraged. Yeah, I was outraged that I couldn't finish that class because I thought, no, this is easy. It's on the bike or the music, like I'm a soccer player, like running
Surprise.
around. Surprise, the oxygen, so it beat me up and it challenged me. So, and when he challenged me, I said, okay, no, I need to, and I'm very competitive. So I need to be on top of the bike until I learn how to do this thing. Then I decide if I'm going to continue or not later. But for now, I need to make it happen and do it. So I start doing it. And because I'm an engineer, the same guy that pushed me through this class in a club went to a specialized place called Secret Cycling Society, which is the club that I go to this day. And he said I went there and they measured me on the bike with a ruler and the size and all scientific measurements, and my back's not hurting anymore and all of that. I fell in love with that because the idea of having some science behind the scene is the reason why I do things. And then I said I'm going there, so I started going there Saturdays, and and then I continue going there. I've been going there for like 13 years now.
Wow. So it's
Yes.
not a, is it a secret? Can you tell us a little bit about the secret society?
Well, Secret Cycling Society is a place inside of a warehouse. It's in a mezzanine of a warehouse that has a bunch of. It's called Miami Depot Warehouse. They do like supply to small supermarkets local, but the owner got hit by a car back in 1999 on the street and said, I'm never going to ride on the road anymore, and build this, kind of stage type of spinning room. And bought these beautiful bikes. He maintains the bikes. He's a lot for the sports, and then he's a super instructor. Now he stopped because he's like 75 years old already, so he's kind of slowing down. But he's been doing aerobics all this time, and then he started in 2000. And just last week, the mayor of the city, there is a city of Hialeah that is inside of Miami. The mayor of the city of Hialeah went there and gave him a plaque for 25 years in business, and declare June 22nd the Secret Cycling Society Day. It was like a big
Whoa,
deal. We did a big event there, a bunch of people there. The mayor went there. It was super awesome. It's super cool. This guy is super cool. He calls, I'm the last American in Hialeah.
incredible. Was there kind of a moment, like a spark that went off that was like, aha, I want to teach this?
Yes, yes. There was one point that I was like 3 or 4 years into it, right? And then my wife said, yes. Several friends of mine go to the spinning class, and they like it in the beginning, but then they kind of flat out. They don't evolve anymore. They kind of hit the ceiling, and they don't grow anymore.
Mm-hmm, the
And
plateau.
yeah, and as I mentioned to you, I'm very competitive, and I'm very like, if you tell me that something is impossible, that's where I'm gonna stay trying to be like, okay, this is impossible, but if I must find a way to break that. So my wife said that, and I said, no, this is not right, because even the most top performer athletes in the world have, coaches to take them even further to the next level. So there's always a way to take it to the next level. I said, like, I can't accept that fact, right? So I didn't want to accept that fact. And I said, okay, I'm gonna look for more education, right? And I had gone to the spinning.com. The spinning.com used to have like these events, like national events, and it's a spinning convention. There's a ride with 600 bikes in the same ride in a ballroom, and then they did that in Miami for many years now. I had gone to one of those, and I saw that they had these educations and spinning instructor certification. And then I said, next year I'm gonna go there and do the spinning instructor certification, just to learn how it is that I can continue evolving, right, and prove my wife wrong, right? I wanted to at first, it's like I gotta show her like that it's not possible, and I did it, and then as soon as I did it, the owner of Secret Cycling told me, like, why don't you teach here? You can teach. You come here 6 times a week already. I was doing like 6, 7 classes, and I said, like, no, because my job is like 12 hours a day. I'm in sales, right? Technology sales, one of the like very large company, like quotas and a bunch of things. And I travel and I fly in and fly. I said, I can't commit. And then a year later, I said, oh, all right. He called me again. He said, like, this instructor is leaving. She's moving out of town, so we don't have anybody else. Like, why don't you give it a shot? I said, okay, I'm committing. I stayed doing 3 classes a week until June of last year. Then now I found a new job that is even more demanding. So I do only one class per week, and I'm the official backup instructor for anybody that cannot go. If I'm in town in the mornings, I teach in the mornings. But if I'm in town every Saturday morning, 8 a.m., I'm there. That's how basically I decided to, the moments that I decided the story about behind me becoming an instructor. And I've been doing that since I think 2018, 2019.
Amazing. Getting into your class, this is some of the stuff that I really love and that other Struck Club members love to hear about is the coach Luis. Is there signature style? Is there a formula? What is the Luis experience?
The Louise experience is more geared towards, I am a former drummer, right? I didn't
Oh,
play
that
as
too.
well. Yeah,
You didn't
I
mention
didn't
that.
I didn't play very well. That's why I'm a former drummer. But I like the beats of all of the beats of the song. I barely listen to the lyrics. I'm not, lyrics guy. I'm a beat guy. So I select the classes by the beats. I try to follow the beats. I try to, kind of psych myself into the class and psych the entire class into pay attention to your breathing, pay attention to your core, pull your core, pay attention to your position, right? Improve your position 1% at a time. Move a half an inch back, your butt half an inch back on top of the saddle. Those type of things, like little details that make a difference that were things that I made, that I learned through instructing classes, or looking at other people, going to other clubs, doing other classes somewhere else. That you know, if you pay attention to what you're doing, you're going to change what you're paying attention to, right? So, but there is different types of classes as well. I'm not, saying anything bad about the classes that people go there because of the music, because of the social, elements of the class, because of all of the other things that the class offer. What I'm trying to say is that if you go to one of my classes, I'm going to be more concerned about the position of the person, the pull instruction to pull the core, maintain the breathing flowing constantly, totally. I tell people the moments that you continuously breathe and pull your core at the same time without letting you go, it's game over, because you can do anything. You pull your core and you breathe, you can do anything after you master that. Like I tell people, like, my class is a 45-minute excuse me, 45-minute plank, right? So you go 45 minutes, pull your core and don't let it go for 45 minutes, right? The other thing that I mentioned is, like, maintain your shoulders in the same level, right? Don't go
Hmm.
up and down, because if you go up and down, you're creating impact to your knee. Since
Hmm.
I can't impact my knee, I have to control my knees and my hips. I have to control that I don't go up and down. But for you not to go up and down, then you're not leveraging gravity. It becomes much more difficult for you to ride your bike. So, like, don't go up and down. Some instructors, I go to some other classes, some instructors stay there for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes as a special moment in the class.
Hmm.
Well, my class, I don't go up and down for 45 minutes of the class. Like, it's like core. So that's my style of class. If some people tell me, like, Luis, let it lighter a little bit. I said, like, you can light up as much as you want. I'm not riding the bike for you. I'm not, telling people to do anything. I don't get down from my bike and go around positioning people or trying to put more gear on people's bikes or anything like that. I don't do that. So I said, like, you can ride the bike, the way that you want. I'm just trying to, put myself ahead of the pack that wants to evolve. And there are some people in my class that goes to my class for many years that have the core, super core, have super glutes, super legs, super core, and they like it. They love it.
So, one of the things that you have mentioned is that you've taught thousands of classes. And for a lot of us who teach in our own style, especially when you've gone into that number, that volume where you've taught thousands of classes, it feels second nature, and maybe it's obvious to you, like, what is my class style? I just do what I do. But to a lot of people out there, it can be kind of shocking to jump into somebody else's class, and it's like, whoa, that's extremely different. So I think, recognizing the particulars of the things that you do. Maybe there's some things with the types of beats or like the type of music that you select as well that are special to you, that might not be the taste of another instructor.
Yeah, although I've done, you know, maybe a couple of thousand classes, I continue searching for what is my style. And my conclusion was my style is a combination of multiple people that I admire,
Hmm.
right? So I admire this person's style, and then I get something of that person, something. So if you look at my class and I tell you go to these other people classes, you're gonna see me in moments of those classes, and I continue adding those pieces there, improving in doing these things, right? So my style of music, I because of my non-lyric type of mindset, I like music, like electronic music, sounds really good. Some, rock and roll, like 80s, 70s, 80s rock and roll, heavy rock and roll. I put those in there. Brazilian rock and roll, Spanish music like reggaeton music from Spain. There's a bunch of remixes there, um, electronic remixes of traditional disco musics of the 80s, those type of things. I mean, I'm very eclectic. If you go to my profile, if you can look at my profile there, you're gonna see like this guy is completely nuts. I have choreographed probably maybe I don't know, maybe a 800 songs into the app, right? So I have 700 songs there. So sometimes I get into the gym and then I get based on the position that you can pull from the app. Based on the position, I get these type of positions. I boom, 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 boom. In 5 minutes, I put a new class together and said, "This is what we're gonna do today. Let's go." Right. So that's a super cool feature, by the way, from the app. And put a class in ready in 5 minutes. Some people tell me like, "Oh, Luis, put some more Spanish music because the instructor that you're backing up today is mostly Spanish-speaking people that likes reggaeton or the Spanish-speaking musics." And then I do that, right? So why? Because I don't have a total preference, but I like the beat. When I'm doing the class, I tell people like, follow the beat is different for me than different for you. You need to find your drum, right? So there's several drums in the drum set, right? The hi-hats, the snare, the kick. So you find your drum and follow your rhythm, and based on your rhythm, you produce your power, right? Based on the speeds that you go. If you're going really slow and there's no gear, then you're doing nearly zero. But if you're going really slow and then you put heavy, right? Then you're producing power. Power is a speed times the climb or the gear that you put. So you can put the power. The bike is not going to do anything for you. I also say that in my classes, the bike is not going to do anything for you. The bike is going to give you back maybe sometimes twice as much what you put in, right? But if you don't put anything in, the bike is not going to give you anything back. Plant the seed and then measure your success in months and quarters. It's not like days and weeks, right? So you measure your success in months and quarters. How you lower your base heart rate, right? So how you lower the time that it takes for you to get to your 80% threshold or your maximum heart rate. It takes years for you to lower that, for you to get fit, to get into a place where you can do more without getting too tired and build your physique.
It sounds like that maybe there is a technology component that's going on in class, whether it is maybe it's wearable or it's like hooked up metrics or something that's going on at the studio that helps people to see their progress over time and their heart rate, or an increasing number of people who are coming to our classes are just tapping into their own wearable technology. Is that the case for you, or is there something that is actually hooked up to the machine? Is there like a group element? What are you
No,
guys
I
using?
I did a lot with my Apple Watch in an app, and measuring my heart rate. So if you have to calculate your maximum heart rates, right, based on your age. There's a few formulas that you can use to do that. There's different formulas. Some are better, some others are less precise. But once you find your maximum heart rate, if you stay at 80% of your maximum heart rate, then below 80%, you're burning more fat than building muscle. And above 80%, you're building more muscle and burning less fat. And you need to know where you want to be, what you want to do based on which stage of evolution you are or stage of your life you are, right? There is always a lot of technology that can be measured. I love technology. I'm an engineer by trade, right? So I'm a computer engineer by trade. I love technology. I use technology for measuring, but I am not 100% technology. If your mind is not into the class, right? If all you
Yeah.
want is to produce a result for your watch or produce the result for a graph that you want to show people, like I went to the class and I did, oh my God, look at how my interval classes went and like boom, 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 boom. If that's what you're concerned about, then the technology, it's just showing off a technology. It's likely it's going to last a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months, and then you're going to not, you have to be using technology for the right reasons. You have to use technologies to enable and support a desire of really improving yourself and being there and being present into the class, right? So because also people are looking at their watch and they look at their phone, they put their phone on the bike and then all of a sudden they're inside of a text message, texting message with someone, like they can't be out of the phone for 45 minutes. I ask people to, prevent to not to do that, because if you only pay attention on your phone, you're not going to improve your core, you're not going to improve your breathing, you're not going to improve your position, you're not going to do anything that you dare to do. You're not going to get the time back on top of the bike. So you need to be on the bike. You be on the bike, sit on the bike and do the 45-minute best classes, like a therapy. Like if you breathe for 45 minutes without missing one beat, I want someone that can do that for 45 minutes to call me back, because I've been trying for thousands of hours of writing and I can't do that. I always miss, I always get distracted, and I'm trying to pay attention, but I always get distracted. And then okay, don't worry if you got distracted. This is not perfect. Just when you notice that you got distracted, bring it back and continue to breathe. Bring it back and breathe again, right? So people need to be present in the class, whether they have the app, they have the additional information or not. Um, but I love technology. There is a lot of technology that makes a lot of sense, but it needs to be used in conjunction, right, with a true desire of wanting to be better, wanting to be connected with the class, listening in to what the instructor is saying, right, and enjoying the class. That's how we enjoy the class. If you pay attention to that, then 45 minutes go by and like, boom, when you see like 45 minutes are gone. The best classes are the ones that you next time you see the class is over and people say like, oh my God, this is awesome, this is the greatest class. One of the things that I don't focus on is like dancing on top of the bike, right? So there's a lot of people nowadays that are starting to dance on top of the bike, or doing extreme arms movements. I haven't learned how to do that or to enjoy that. I think bike is already taking care of 80% of our muscles, right? So far, I haven't been able to find the reason to put, an upper arm, like it's almost like, oh, we do everything on the bike here, but then you're distracted, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Like it's funny, but I haven't found yet my way there.
Every class that you walk into with a different coach in a different environment should be a distinct and unique experience. So if something is your thing, if something is not your thing,
Yeah.
having a clear stance is going to enable members to find you more easily, and yeah, just enable your community that is meant to become your community to gravitate towards you.
Absolutely, absolutely. The dancing on top of the bike, I think it's fun. I don't think I think it's fun. But I just don't think it is for me.
Do you have any crazy or memorable stories from your thousands of classes that you've taught?
Um, I remember one recently where, I forgot my phone at home and I got all jumpy on the class. I was talking to everybody at the gym Saturday morning, let's go. When I put my hands on my pockets, my phone was not there. And I said, like, what I'm gonna do now? So I
What
got
did you do?
So I got so Saturday is a double class, so there's always two instructors there. So we do 45 minutes. I do the first 45 minutes and someone else does the second. I called the second instructor and she was arriving and I said like, come on, come on, come faster. And then she came in and she also have Struct Club app. So
Phew!
I logged out from her and I logged in on mine
Oh
on
my
her
God.
phone and I got away with it. There's always something going on with technologies. Sometimes the Bluetooth connector didn't connect, so now we have two Bluetooth connectors. So we do smooth transitions, right? On the holidays, we have five instructors sometimes doing kind of 12, 15 minutes each, or 10 minutes each, 20 minutes each. And then we have,
Cool.
and then we only have two bikes on the instructor podium, right? So we have two bikes, and then we go by, and then now I put a second Bluetooth, so we do smooth transitions. So we do mixing of, and each instructor has its own style. We have one instructor there that, no, I think no, there's nobody else on only CDs. Everybody's at least on the phone connected to the Bluetooth, right? But in the beginning, before I put Struct Club there, we burned CDs and we put CDs in it and we wrote down the timing of the music on a piece of paper and put it there. And we were reading I said like, no, no, I can't. I cannot do this. That's when I found you. That's when I found you. Was right at the beginning. I found you, and then I went through the app. The app worked well, and then I brought. I think there's two other instructors, Mercy and Chrissy, that are on Struct Club as well from Secrets. You know how to do a class sometimes I like a song, let's say someone I'm listening to music, I like a song, I put it on Spotify, create a playlist of that song, and then that it suggests other songs, right?
Uh
Similar
huh.
songs. And then sometimes I go there with one song based and I add from Spotify suggestions, I create a class. Driving home in 15 minutes, I create a class. By the time I get home, I already have the music for the class. The other day, I did a U2 class. I did a Coldplay class, all Coldplay, all U2, I think I did one, all David Bowie, in celebration of, and then like I said, I anchored the class in one song and I have some classes called 1 hour in 1 minute
Ooh.
because it took me 1 minute to build the class, a 1 hour class, just by going through the app and I boom, 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 select the music and boom, and 1 hour in 1 minute. I also created a ChatGPT agent to create classes for me. I teach the agent like strength classes these, um, endurance classes these, interval classes is these. Kind of did a definition to what I define that in terms of BPM and rhythm, and then it's an agent. So he asked me like, okay, now I unsubscribed from ChatGPT, so I probably lost that, but I can create another one. And then I asked, create me a song, a 45-minute class with all Brazilian music with the BPM, blah, 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 or with the strength type of profile. And then it gives me the entire class. So, and then, those type of things make things easier, right?
These are some good tips and tricks.
I thought about one for new instructors, right? So the new instructors, don't be shy on picking up your mentors, picking
Hmm.
up the people that you admire. If you're thinking about becoming an instructor, you've done some classes already, right? So which classes did you like? And then co-pick the brain of that instructor. Some instructors are like an inspirational. They just there's some people that can go on a bike and any music that plays, they teach a class on top of anything without any preparations, and you think that the class was prepared for 3 days. They were preparing the class for 3 days. They never heard the music. Some people are capable of doing that. I am not. I'm more like I have to put, like 8 beats, change position, eight, 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 and then 16, 16, 16, 32, 32, 32. I'm like a robot, right? Almost. Um, so that is important to have a mentor, to have someone that you can ask. um, the other thing is like sometimes you're concerned about the people gonna like or don't like your class, and sometimes it has nothing to do with your class.
Hmm.
The people walk away, and then they don't talk to you, or they didn't say thank you this time, and there's nothing to do with you. It has to do with them.
Hmm.
As long as you sincerely there doing the best that you can to deliver the class either for one person or for 30 people in the room, you're already right, and you're already doing a great thing there, because just having the courage to step into a bike and do the class, like we're going up there, putting a microphone and then talking to people, is already a lot. And most of people wouldn't even do that. Most people, like, there's some people that are, burning desire to be an instructor, but they don't do it because they're afraid to go up there and then take the lead, or taking the charge, or starting a class. Don't think that you're not good enough for it. If you're already good for it. It's just a matter of time. You can improve, and of course everybody needs to improve, but it's just a matter of time until you improve it. And don't worry about those things.
I think that's a really important message. I think it's a really healing message for a lot of instructors because it's so relatable. There's going to be somebody who doesn't give you the time of day going through class. It's like you spent maybe it's 45 minutes, maybe it's 60 minutes with them. Maybe I don't expect everybody to say thank you or anything. It's just kind of like go on their day. But there have been some classes where it's like, are they mad? Or are
Uh,
they really not enjoying it? Or
yes.
sometimes people leave early for whatever reason and
Uh-huh.
don't give you a. Anyway, there are many, many, many ways in which that could manifest, and it's so easy to take it personally because a lot of us put that heart and soul and like, I love this beat, I love this music. There's just always something personal, like a piece of you that you put into your work as an instructor with creating this experience that is very, very personal. And so it's easy to take those types of things that happen and decide that just attribute them as outcomes of something that you did or something that you lacked.
Yes. And if you go to enough other people's classes, you're gonna notice that's a common thing of, some days you get to the gym, and two people show up to do the class. The studio has like 30 bikes and there's two people in the class. What are you gonna do? Cry? No, you're gonna step up and you're gonna do the class like those two people are the best people that could ever be there, and they are privileged to be ahead of the other 28 that are not there. For us instructors, we are the first beneficiaries of our own class, right? So first of all, you doing the class and you moving your body, you're doing the thing, in not just by putting the class together, is it should be a gift for you, back to you. Like, I put a class together, it should be feeling accomplished. And how about if you're doing classes and 30 people go to your class and then you see like no evolution in terms of health? Like, like I'm creating a hypothetical, scenario, right? So no evolution. Is this your fault? Your presence or your class doesn't control anybody. You're just giving an opportunity for people to do something about it. And like I mentioned in the beginning, if you don't do anything to the bike sitting on the bike and moving your legs is not going to do anything. You need to do something intentionally to the bike, put an effort, put a gear, climb it out. So I think you know I learned that with the owner of Secret Cycling Society when I said like only on my class 2 people showed up. And he said, as long as there is one person, that's what we're here for. If I can change one person's life, that's what I'm doing this for. And I'm not concerned about there's 30 people, 40 people, 20 people. And that's one of the reasons he always told me that that's one of his reasons why I stayed there for so long is because of his cultural approach to these type of things and, mentorship from using those type of things.
But when you have that approach to one person, when you value that one individual human being who's in class, how much more powerful can you be when there's 2 people or triple that many people or
Yeah.
10, 10
Yeah.
people or those 30 people filling out the class if you value every single person.
People that are more shy, when there's less people in the class, they feel more that they can approach us more. So they talk more. They end up asking me. They ask, "Oh, my leg was hurting." I said, "Well, I saw you, you raising your heels and jumping too much to the front, or I saw on the bike your saddles seem to be too low. Oh, I lowered the saddle because I was hitting my butt on the saddle." I said, "Well, because you don't you going up and down too much." Those I take those opportunities, right? Because not everybody takes feedback well, right? So then or understand. So I take those moments to provide feedback and try to adjust that what I see that could be a possible improvement, or try to do this to improve a little bit, try to do that, and then they come back like 3 weeks later, say like, "Oh, you remember that you said that now I'm feeling much better, my leg is not working, not hurting anymore," those type of things. And then these people are like literally lifers there. People like there is a good group of people that don't stop going. People don't only stop going there because
They
they move out
moved.
of town. Yeah, they move out of town. Like I have to move out of town, and then they stop going there. But there are people that goes there for their all 25 years, 26 years, almost 26 years now. So they just go there because of this touch of in this cultural, like it's, if I change one person's life, it's not like, well, we're there to be famous and posted and do things. And like, I think we have to have the foundation, which is if I'm helping one person, is already worth it. And the first person that you're helping yourself is yourself. I'm on the bike. I don't pay to go to the gym. They pay me to give the class. So I'm already benefiting from it. I was doing 6 classes a week, 7 classes a week, right? Now I can do as many as I want, right? I'm the first beneficiary of being the instructor.
Is there anything else that we should have covered that you wanted to talk about?
I am super heavy on on using the classes as not only as an exercise, but for the body, but as an exercise for your mind, to concentration, to breathing, you know your body, know what you're doing with your body. Pull your core, like be aware that you're pulling your core. So today, if I go sit in the sofa, if I go get into the car, I don't get into the car anymore without pulling my core. I'm 59 years old, right? So next year I'm gonna be 60. I pull my core, I sit down. Pull my core to get up. Pull my core. I do it like I'm breathing. So my core is rock solid from one side to another. My leg is rock solid because I did it step by step by step by step. I think one important message is that success in indoor cycling is not measured in days and weeks, is measured in months, quarters, and years. You need to be in there. No, there's no quick pill that you're gonna take. Oh, quick indoor cycling pill, and then it's a conditioning thing that you don't get hurt. Once you learn how to do it, you don't get hurt. You don't feel back pain. You don't get hurt. You don't feel tired, more tired after the class. Usually you get, rested, you re-energized after the class, right? So there's a bunch of things that those things I think are important to highlight, because if the person is going to the class and it leaves the class and is feeling I'm hurting, I am doing this, it could be temporarily, of course, because you never did anything and then now you're trying to get it going. But after a while, you shouldn't be feeling more pain. You shouldn't be feeling more this, because there is ways for you to adjust your position, pull your core. So there's no need for back pain, those type of things. That's why I think there's other classes like these online apps that do classes at home. People do classes at home. Most of the classes are people sitting down on the bike. They rarely leave the saddle, you know. Some days I do the classes and like, we're going to go up, and in 45 minutes we're gonna go back to the saddle. We're not gonna go back to the saddle anymore, right? So do classes like that. But why online people do these? Because if people go up and then they're doing things, they're gonna, oh, I'm feeling a back pain here that I can't predict, and they're gonna get a lawsuit or something like that. I imagine that. I like to go to other people's classes. I like to go to other people's classes to learn. That's it. I haven't been able to past year, but I'm usually when I travel, I say like, oh, I'm gonna go to the club here. I'm gonna go to the other place there, and I try to visit, other people's classes. Is always interesting.
I always get inspiration from other people's classes. It doesn't matter what modality, whether I teach that modality or not.
Yeah.
There's always something in the coaching. There's always something in maybe it is the flow of movement. Even if if it's a different modality, or
Yeah.
maybe it's something in the music, or something about the experience of maybe it's the operating environment that is a little bit different, that we're kind of all paying attention. Especially if you're an instructor, you're like really paying attention now.
Yeah, the movements, yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Well, cool, Luis. If there's nothing else, then that's a wrap.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything that you do for us. Thank you so much for putting this app together.
Thank
You're,
you.
you're amazing.
It is an honor for me. It's an honor for everybody on our team to support your practice and the good work that you're doing, that I think I would say is more important than ever out in the community.
I love it. I love it. I cannot live without it. Without indoor cycling, and I cannot teach without Struct Club. I cannot teach without it.